Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is another video as part of my investment property series where I am sharing with you guys my road to my very first investment property. What I'm looking to do, if you guys haven't been here, if you haven't seen this series yet, what I'm looking to do is actually buy a duplex, owner occupy it, and have somebody else basically covering a majority of my mortgage payment. That way I'm building wealth up front, and I can just in a few years be able to buy another duplex, another property, and continue growing from there in my real estate journey. Now, this is really exciting because not only is this my very first home purchase, but it is also my first multifamily. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's just a really great time. But I want to bring everybody up to speed because there has been a lot that has happened. So before one of my last videos I was talking about, I was finally ready to get into these properties, see what's going on, and start making offers. Well, I finally put in my very first offer. Now, this is a month after I launched this series, so timing, that's still pretty quick. I feel like there's not so much on the market right now due to the current circumstances of the economy and where everything is at, but I found a property that had been on the market, and let me just paint a little bit of a picture for you guys here so you can understand my mindset, why I made an offer on this property, and what I was thinking. So this property actually came on the market. It was a long weekend this past weekend. So this hit the market on Saturday, and it said that they were going to begin showings on Sunday. So immediately I got on the phone, I called up my real estate agent and was like, you got to get me in this property. I'm ready to go. I'm fired up. This looks really great. Well, one thing that had actually happened was that very same day, my agent's mother passed away. So I had a little bit of a hard time reaching her at that point, and I was a little bit worried about trying to get in, see this property. I felt really bad that I was putting a lot of pressure on her to get me into this property because obviously family comes first in a lot of different situations. And for me, timing on this is key. I needed to get in, try and make an offer. And granted, my real estate agent really worked through, was able to get me in. My real estate agent actually wasn't able to attend the showing, but she did have the listing agent walk me through. So I contacted her on Saturday. We got us showing for Sunday. Now we show up, right? And there had been people before us. There had been people before those people viewing the house, and people booked right after us. All in all, the listing agent was walking through 15 people in the very first day that this property was on the market. So we walked through the property, and almost instantly, I got really great vibes from it. But let me tell you about some of the properties that I've been seeing on the market lately. Now, what's really interesting around me, around my area, you can see housing on the market, not even multifamily, just regular housing that is in shambles, literally held up, duct taped together, just thrown out there with a sign up for sale, and it's going for $200,000 to $250,000, which just blows my mind because these properties, just to be brought up to speed, are going to need around $100K in repairs. And then, obviously the people who have the money that can go in and flip it, it's easy for them to get the funding for it. But for someone like me, where I have typically going for the FHA or the FHA 203K loan, a lot of this stuff seems to be over my head for the repairs that would need to be made on these properties. So it is a little bit overwhelming. But with those $200,000 to $250,000 properties that are literally just held up barely together, it really makes it hard to find some of those better properties that are priced reasonably where I can find a deal. But this property hit the market at $325,000, and that is pretty much peak budget for me. So I knew going in that if I needed to make an offer, it would likely have to be that $325K value, and I can't really go any higher than that because that is technically my limitation right there. So I knew going in it was going to be a property that I needed to, if I wanted it, I would need to at least offer full value for the property there. So the listing agent showed me the property. I had previously been looking for duplexes that were side-by-side units. I just like the idea of them because, you're very separated from the other tenants that are living there. You have your own space, they have their own space, and I just like the overall structure of them. So what was interesting is this particular property was an up and down unit where the upstairs had 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and the downstairs was 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Now, my mortgage payment on something like this with the FHA loan that I was going for was going to be around $2,400. Currently, where I'm at paying rent, I pay $800 myself, and my roommate pays another $800 where we're at. The rental unit for the upstairs, which was that 3-bedroom unit, is $1,700 for the area. So the mortgage, the PMI, and everything rolled in, like I said, is around $2,400 for that building itself a month. look what's left. That's $700 out of my pocket for mortgage. Now, obviously I'm gonna have to pay for other things along the way, you know, repairs that would need to be made on the property. And I'd be needing to take into account a number of different things, such as what I wanted to do with it as I moved in, and the, you know, other essential processes that come along with buying the property. But essentially, I was going to be paying very, very similar to what I am paying now for rent, except I would just be building my wealth, because theoretically somebody else is going to be paying a majority of the mortgage there. So I was really fired up and I was ready to go. And I went into this property, you know, a little bit of the mindset like, oh, I'm not going to be too interested in this because of that. It's a split level, but I jump in and I instantly was in love with it. The upstairs was in peak condition. The tenants were really, really organized. I was super excited. And then we got to the downstairs, which was a little bit more, you know, it needed some work, but for the most part, it was all put together. It looked very, very solid, and there was a lot of potential on this place. It had a huge backyard with a giant shed as well. So there was a lot more potential for the outside area as well. There was just so many great things that I could say about this property. And I knew that day, right after I'd walked through, that we were gonna be making an offer. So what I needed to do was hop on the phone real quick. Now, I've been talking to 2 different mortgage lenders for the purposes of having 2 different types of loan. One of them was the initial contact that I reached out to, and I got qualified for an FHA loan, which basically means I can put 3.5% down because I don't have a ton of money saved up for this down payment. Now, the other lender actually offers what's called a FHA 203K. Now, what the FHA 203K loan does, it is allows you to roll in some repairs, those necessary repairs that you need to make on the property, into your mortgage. So let's say I bought this property at $300,000 for whatever reason, and I needed to put some work into it, and it was estimated that the work would cost $30,000. Well, that is where the FHA 203K loan would come in handy. I could do that, bring it in, make the repairs, and it rolls right into my mortgage. So it's a really, really solid way to finance a home if you are considering it, if you're looking at these different beat down properties. But this one was in really, really great condition, and I didn't need that 203K loan, which was really, really solid for this scenario. Now, 2 things that went really well during this walkthrough. One, well, it was with the listing agent because obviously my agent wasn't there. And I did take my mom to this walkthrough as well, because honestly, as a new real estate investor, I don't really necessarily know what exactly to look for in these properties. When I just walk through, I want to make sure that I'm getting as many eyes as I possibly can. So I'm a very optimistic minded person by heart. So when I go in, I could love this place and everybody else could be like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, no one is ever gonna rent this for you. So I like to have multiple people, you know, multiple layers to break it down so I understand that I'm keeping myself in check. So my mom went with me, and the listing agent was actually from New Jersey, and my mother is from New Jersey as well. So they instantly hit it off. They have that, you know, Jersey spirit going back and forth, and that was really, really great for me. Now, the other thing is I could tell that the listing agent was very impressed by my age and what I was looking to do. So I kind of laid out what my plans were in the future, how I wanted to begin my real estate journey with this property and my intentions with it and where I saw myself going. And you could just tell by the way she reacted, her body language and everything going on, that she was genuinely, you know, rooting for me in an aspect. Now, that could have been a tactic just on her part as the listing agent, and most agents probably do that, but I really felt like, you know, she understood what I wanted to do and she was rooting for me, and like she was gonna put in a good word if I got my offer in. Now, I told her everything, the extended circumstances of how my agent was, you know, a family crisis was going on, so my offer may not be in as soon as some of these other offers, because she was asking for offers ASAP. She wanted them in before noon the very next day. So luckily, my agent was still tentative, checking her emails, and she was able to get an offer together for me. Now, the process that it took to get this offer, if you are unfamiliar with it, basically what happened was I reached out to my mortgage lenders and I was like, hey, listen, I found a property. I really want to make an offer on it. Can you please just put together a letter that is going to give me an approval for the value? So I got an approval for that $325,000, sent it over to my agent, and basically she drafted up the offer, which basically includes everything on the property that, you know, you want to keep, that's within it, and it had all of the property information right on it. So essentially, after you make the offer, that's when hopefully it gets accepted, and then you get to move forward and you can get inspections and you start doing the more nitty-gritty stuff that I'll be talking about later on in this series. But unfortunately, that very night, so I put in the offer, $325, got it in by 11 o'clock a.m. So the offer was there. I put in my best foot. I even wrote a personalized letter to the listers of the property, just explaining, you know, hey, this is my name, this is where I'm from. loved the house, really fired up. I'm super excited. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm starting my real estate journey, and this is the perfect property to do it. And I just told them a little bit about myself, why I really wanted to get into this property and my intentions with it. And I even just threw in, they had tenants upstairs. I wasn't sure of their relationship with the tenants, but I made sure to point out that, hey, I would be looking out for them. I look to hopefully extend my offer to them and have them live on the property as well, because they seemed like they were really great tenants, and I just wanted to get that good word in for them if they had that personalized relationship with them. So I ended up hearing back from them that very night. My agent got an email around 6 p.m. and it basically said that due to financing purposes, they actually selected another offer. This was a multiple offer situation, and the reason being that they selected the other offer was likely that it was a cash offer. Because what happens when you're investing with these multifamily properties, a lot of these people are cash investors, and that just trumps the financing that I have, because obviously an FHA loan is a little bit harder to qualify for. It's a little bit harder to get that process down. So a lot of times if a person comes in, offers cash, that is the simplest and easiest way to sell a property. So anybody who hears that it's a cash offer, they might jump on it real quick. The other thing is, I believe, and I'm not sure about this quite yet, and I can report on this later, but I think that a property like this sold well above what the asking price was. So I made that full ask price $325. I really couldn't go any higher, but I wouldn't be surprised if this went for $350 and above. Because of the condition, it didn't need any work right off the bat, and a lot of the other properties that I'm looking at are selling for that $330 range with a lot of work that needs to be done. There's one in particular that I was looking at that needs a brand new chimney, estimated at around $25,000. It's having some issues with the foundation as well as water damage, and I mean, that one's listed at $330 and it was almost closed, but the contract fell through last minute. So that one's back on the market. But it's interesting just to see all the different types of properties out there. So it was a little bit of a rush this weekend. I'm learning to kind of keep myself in check, have a little bit more patience when it comes to this real estate stuff, because I'm very much a go-getter, go, and not really slowing down. So I wish that this property was coming to me a little bit quicker, but really there hasn't been much on the market, and that was only there for literally one day and it was already off the market. So I really need to make sure that my eye is kept on the market and my real estate agent is ready to go, because what's happening is these properties are getting listed and then swept up almost immediately. So moving forward, hopefully I'll have some better news, but really that's all I needed to report on this video here. If you guys have any questions about the process, if you have any, feedback for videos like this, then definitely leave it in the comment section down below. I'd really appreciate that. Make sure you smash that like button. Just help me out with that YouTube algorithm. Thanks for checking out this video, guys, and have a great day.